Hi students, today we're going to use a template in Excel and figure out how can we change it. What can we do and what can we not? How are different formulas built into it so we can figure out what cells are dependent on each other and how can we modify it. It's going to be very exciting. So, download your template from Blackboard and follow along on the lecture and you'll learn all about it. It's going to be so great, I promise you. See you soon. Today we will look at how to use an existing Excel spreadsheet and perhaps using a template, and how to understand how it works and how we could actually build upon it. This spreadsheet has information about a 30-year 5% mortgage. There's some basic information up top here, and then there's information on the cash flow. There's an annual, monthly, bi-weekly calculation, so the individual knows how much will they have to pay if they decide to pay it annually, monthly, or bi-weekly. Now, an interesting part is to understand how much interest payments will you do on an annual basis. Why? Because that part is tax deductible. Now, the principal payment, that's really where you pay off your mortgage, and that's really creating equity for you. And then you have the total amount of annual payments. Then there's information on what will you actually spend on this house over a 30-year period of time. So in this case, for the annual part right here, is that you're paying $237,000 to the bank. That's how much money the bank will make on you at 5%. And you will get to keep your house at the $250,000 worth of value, so you will actually pay almost $500,000 for this house. Now the question is, when you look at all this information and the person looks at, wow, $670 bi-weekly, that sounds good. What if I would pay $700 instead? Now if they pay $700, that's only $30 extra per paycheck. Now for the calculations, it changes how many time periods will actually it actually will take to pay off this house. So that means that you have to do this calculation first, where you look at how many days you're doing it on, and then it looks like this number here is plugged in to over here, and this number seems like it's the same as that, so the 700, and then it makes a calculation, and then a similar calculation for the annual interest payments and principal payments, and then it looks at how many years does it take to pay off this mortgage. So with only $30 extra, it would actually cut out almost 3 years of interest and principal payments using this little snowball effect of paying only $30 extra per paycheck, which means that it improves your cash flow over 3 years with over $45,000. That's the $16,800 per year. Now the question is, what if I would actually just increase this payment to $1,000? Let's see if we can make it $1,000 right here. There. And how much faster will it take to pay off this house? Now, it goes through all the calculations, and it will actually pay off the house in only 15 years, actually less than 15 years. And now you can think about it. Wow, that would totally improve your cash flow. Now the question is, what if you would invest the same amount for the next coming 15 years? What would that look like? Now those are the calculations you're planning to do next. And in order to do that, you have to figure out what cells are dependent or prescindent on each other so we can actually make some adjustments. One way to figure out what cells are being used is that you click in them. And if you just see, like in this case, it's only $1,000 that is inputted here, that means that there's not much happening there. But it doesn't tell the full story. So one way to figure things out is to go up here to formulas, and if it doesn't work, you have to click escape, and then it unmarks all of this. And now you can go up here and click on see what cells are being used that inputs. So there's no inputs that are coming into the cell, so you just click OK. Now let's see what dependents we have. And if we double click or triple click or something like that, we get all these little arrows, and it tells us what cells is being used. So that's a good thing to know. Okay, how it works. Now if you want to remove them, you click right there. So obviously this cell is highly important for this whole equation. So here we can double click and see the different cells that are being used to calculate the 354 days. Now the question is, what other cells are being dependent on this information? And it gives you all the other information. Now it's safe to say that if we build a model down here to figure out what to use with this extra cash flow that's created by only paying $330 extra per month or per bi-weekly paycheck, how can we invest this money, and what would that look like in, for example, 10 years or 15 years, given that it will take us 14 years to pay off this house, almost 15 years. And what if we invest that money instead and pay ourselves? Because right now we're spending a bunch of money that we're giving to the bank, we're getting a little bit of money, and now we want to figure out how much more money can we make on this project. First thing I'm going to do is remove the arrows. Okay. So the thing we're going to do is we're going to calculate how much money we can make. So let's copy some things here that could be useful. And then we just plug in numbers. Okay. And let's make it look a little nicer. So we'll go back to the home page, add a few lines, and maybe have a nice little line underneath here. And now it looks a little bit nicer. And the present value is going to be an assumption of 0. Okay? Because we have no money. We just paid off the house and we are broke. But we still have cash flow. Now that's different. We're not poor. We might be broke. We might not have much money. But the good thing is that we're productive and we have a bunch of money that we can use. Now, future value, that's what we're going to calculate. Now, the number of years that we're going to use is that we're going to enter the equal signs and we're going to make a calculation. We're going to base it on the 30-year mortgage, and we're going to deduct the years it takes to actually pay this house off, which is 14.7 years, and we're going to enter that in. So it's a little bit more than 15 years. Now, if we use the S&P 500, the long-term expected return of that is around 8%. So we can comfortably say that we're going to make 8% on our money right there. Now the question is, how much money will we actually invest? Well, we're going to invest the $1,000 that we do bi-weekly. There's 12 months of the year, which means 12,000, but we're going to do it bi-weekly, which means that we're going to double that amount. So it's going to actually be an equal of $24,000. So in this case, we're going to just make it a function based on this. So if we make any changes here, it will trickle down in this equation. So now we have the basics. Now you might say, well, that's a negative number. Yes, but you're paying it out. And in the future, you'll get some money back at you. So now we want to figure out what is the future value. In this case, we're going to just go to formulas, insert function, and we're going to look at future value. And I'm just so lucky it's right there. But you might not be lucky, so I'm going to show you how to do it. So you're going to click on this little roll down and click financial, and then you're going to look for future value, and there we go. And you know it's the right one because it has all the information that you also have listed here. And then you click OK. Now the nice thing with this part is that you can move it around in case it's in your way. The rate is going to be the 8%. You just click in it, and then you click up back in the little calculation box and decide the number of payments or time periods. Now you're going to click and choose the number of cash flow that you're going to pay in, and the present value is 0, and we're going to assume that you're going to pay, we'll just omit it here and just enter a 0. Now we can find out how much money we made. Wow, look at this. Look at that enormous number. You're actually, by paying $1,000 a month, $330 extra per paycheck, you can pay off your house in 14 years, and then you invest that money instead for you. And let's do one of these things. Add that here. Copy, and paste it right there. Paste. You're paying this for you, okay? I'm going to delete that one. That means that you will not only pay off your house, but you're also going to have almost $700,000 in your portfolio. So if you wonder, how do you become that millionaire next door? Well, here's the example. You pay off your mortgage bi-weekly with your paycheck, and you pay a little extra. Sometimes not that much. In this case, it's only $330 extra per paycheck. And that might sound a lot when you're in school, but once you go out in the world and people start throwing money at you, you will make money. And you can decide if you're going to make someone else rich or you're going to make yourself rich. In this case, you can use the same teaching from this example to make yourself that next millionaire next door. Okay, students, I hope you really enjoyed working in Excel today and learning how cash flow can make you the next millionaire next door. And naturally, I will have to recommend you a book. And this is Rich Dad's Guide to Investing. It's a really good book. It will talk all about cash flow. So I do encourage you to read it. Enjoy. Okay, see ya. Bye.